Hey, and howdy, Coach Mike Mack here. Before we roll into today's episode, I need to be clear about something. I am not a lawyer, and this is not legal advice. What I'm sharing today comes from my own personal experience and from experiences of others in our convoy. Every state, every situation is different. So if you're facing legal decisions, talk to a licensed attorney in your area. Welcome to the Drive to Thrive podcast, where breakdowns become breakthroughs and divorced dads find the tools to get back into the driver's seat of their lives. I'm your host, Coach Mike Mack. Together with Gio and the rest of the convoy, we're here to help you navigate those toughest roads that come with being a divorced dad. Our hope is to help you find strength, clarity, and purpose. Now today, we're driving into a whole legal process. Today's topic, the courtroom. Demystifying the legal process. Now, brothers, I'll be straight with you. 20 years ago, when I went through my divorce, I was in such a fog, I could barely see any of the signs ahead of me. I didn't know what was coming at me, what those things meant, or what the next mile was going to look like. It felt like I was driving a rig in a snowstorm. No, it was moving, but I didn't know where the next curve was. One wrong move, and I would be in the ditch. That's what the courtroom feels like for most dads. It did for me. And today, I'm going to turn on the high beams and give you a cleaner look at what actually happens in the legal process so that you don't get blindsided like I did 20 years ago. Every state is different, but generally, you'll have these checkpoints along the way. Okay, let's look at a timeline that happens in a divorce case. First, the filing of the petition. One of the spouses is going to file, which gets the other served. I was surprised. My soon-to-be ex back then filed. I got served while I was at work. Total surprise. I did not know that she had done this. That's when the second thing happens. The clock starts ticking. This is where they wait for a response or an answer, which leads to the third thing, which is their temporary orders. These have to do with custody, support, child support, spousal support, and who lives where during the process. Then comes the fourth thing, which is discovery. Discovery is about exchanging your financials, documents, answering questions, etc. Number 5, mediation, where you attempt to settle before going to trial. And then comes number 6, depositions. Depositions are basically your sworn testimony outside of the court. Number 7, if there's no agreements reached by this time, then a trial, a divorce trial, is underway. Think of it as a long-haul route with checkpoints. Most dads will encounter at least 3 or 4 of these along their way. Now, let me stress this. Having the right attorney shotgun with you can make a world of difference. This episode is about giving you the lay of the land. It's not about replacing any kind of legal counsel. I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. Back then, I hired the cheapest lawyer I could find. If you haven't already, go back and check out our earlier Drive to Thrive podcast, where Gio and I break down how to hire the right lawyer and the red flags to avoid along the way. I found out while recording that episode with Gio that I made all the wrong moves. I hired the cheapest lawyer there was. What I really needed was a firm that had multiple attorneys and plenty of legal aides with experience. And a firm like that would have the specialty to handle a divorce case. I learned a great deal from that episode. That episode is actually on Spotify. Its title is The Number One Mistake That Dads Make When Hiring a Lawyer. You can listen to it, especially if you need that kind of guidance right now. There's some key legal terms that we want to go through so that you understand what they are. Let's break it down in plain English. Let's talk about mediation. Mediation is where you sit down you're going to sit down with a referee before the game of divorce goes to court. You're going to sit down with a mediator to see if things can be worked out. And whether this mediation happens and is successful is up to all the parties involved. A deposition is like a practice testimony. You're under oath, telling the truth with a court reporter. The deposition is exactly that. It's like a practice testimony. Temporary orders. Okay, this is the rules of the road until the judge can make the final call and have the actual divorce orders happen. Okay? And then you got discovery. Discovery is like a paperwork that needs to be submitted so that you're laying out all of your financials. It's like you're opening your trailer doors and you're allowing them to check out everything that you've got. That's basically what discovery is. Now, when I was in the thick of it, these terms flew over my head, but once you know what they mean, that helps to clear a little bit. And you realize that it's just another part of the journey that you're on. Okay, now let's go to the court. Court, what to expect. Here's the truth. Court feels scarier than it really is. I remember how scared I was about going to court. Most times, the hearings are very short, and they're very much less dramatic than you would have, say, on a TV show. One of the things you want to make sure of is that you can do your best in mediation so that you don't ever really get to court. Majority of divorce cases probably settle in mediation, but then the court is there after mediation fails. Now, let's talk about judges for a second. Judges, they don't care about drama, whether it's your own drama, your ex's drama. They're not going to care about that. In fact, it probably will help the judge to lean the other way of whoever's got the drama. Judges want facts. They want clear and concise facts. And they want respect when you're in the courtroom. It's like this. I'm a truck driver. Picture it like you're waiting at the weigh station in line. Lots of nerves. Lots of sitting around. And then it's your turn to step up onto the scale. Those of you truck drivers know what I'm talking about. And if your paperwork's all together and your rig is all good, they see that you're good and you roll right on through. That's what you want when it's time to go to court. All right, let's move into some practical tips. For example, you need to be keeping some sort of notebook or journal. Jot everything down. Exchanges, dates, times, things that go on between you and your soon-to-be ex. You will want this, okay? It's necessary in today's world. Number 2, get your financial paperwork together. We talked in an earlier podcast about after the first 24 hours, you're going to want to have a financial snapshot taken. You're going to want to have your financial paperwork in order, tight, clean, just like you have bill of lading and all of your paperwork for the big rig, the registration, the insurance, all that's, it's the same thing when it comes time to see the judge in court. You're going to want your financial paperwork done, all organized. Judges love organization. Don't be like me, the messy guy. Get your financial paperwork together. Number 3, show up with respect. Clean, calm. I wouldn't show up at court like this. First impressions matter a lot. Number 4, don't text or email in anger We have a whole podcast episode, multiple podcast episodes about this very thing. Rage at the red light is something that Gio and I did back then. You can look it up. Your words, your emotions will become evidence in the court. When you go to text, make sure you use the BIF method. Brief, informative, friendly, firm, just the facts. You don't want drama. Emails are better, but even better would be to use some sort of parenting app. Okay. Number 5, use your lawyer wisely. Don't call them every time you panic. It will rack up the bill like crazy. You're going to want to be able to, in fact, that's where our convoy can come in. Remember, when you pose questions here in the group, we're not lawyers, okay? But we can help. We've been down the road. We can help with our experiences, letting you know what we've done in the past, and you can take those things into effect. These tips are not going to guarantee a win, but they put you in the driver's seat instead of riding shotgun. That's the important thing. Now, look, I want to be real with you. Back when I didn't know any of this, I was stumbling, fumbling, bumbling in the dark. I was running on fumes. I was stressed to the max, trying to hope for the best. It didn't work out very well for me. But see, you've got a convoy, men who have driven this route, and they can radio back to you when the road conditions, when they change, they can radio back to you and let them know what the current road conditions are, where you are in the divorced dad highway. I call it the div dad highway. Look, you don't need to become a lawyer, okay? You just need to know the road that's ahead. And that's what this episode is about, hopefully allowing you to know what is ahead, what's around the next curve. It gets foggy, and you can ask some questions to help clear the way for you. Remember, the convoy can point out the road ahead, but for your exact route, you got to have a licensed attorney in your area. Don't roll solo into a storm without the right people in your cab with you. So if you're at this stage right now, don't be white knuckling it and go it alone like I did 20 years ago. Don't be like me back then. Share your questions in the group. Drop them to me or Gio. We'll keep putting that fuel in your tank so that you can keep moving forward. That's what I want you to know. Let's do just a quick overview on something that's very important right here. The legal process. It's a journey with checkpoints. You got to know the mile markers. Stay calm. And remember, this road has been driven before by many in the Divorce Dad support group. And you don't have to drive it without the right attorney by your side. Again, this is Coach Mike Mack. I've been your host. I appreciate you. If this is helping you, please share it with a brother that needs help. See you on down the road.